So now that we have our shot movie clip being attached to the stage, what we want to do is we want to coordinate it to the ship. So in other words, when I hit the D key on my keyboard and the shot is attached to the stage, it's attached to the upper left-hand corner here, what I want is I want it to be attached to the ship, but not only to the ship, but to the front nose of the ship so that it could look like it's coming out the front. So we're going to do that now. And to do that, we're going to have to use a little trigonometry again. But before I do the trigonometry, what I'm going to do is also account for moving the shot. So the first thing I'll do is I'll say shot underscore MC dot on enter frame. So we want to give it an on enter frame handler for each shot. Gets its own on enter frame handler, and what it'll do is it'll call a function called shot move. And so the shot move function will actually handle the moving of the bullets, right? So each bullet that's shot, or each shot, gets its own on enter frame handler, which will call this function 65 times per second. And so we'll have to write the shot move function. Now we can do the trigonometry that we're going to need to locate the shot and put it to the nose of the spaceship. So it's going to be very similar as before. What we're going to do is we're going to say rad equals ship underscore MC dot underscore rotation times math dot pi, and the math M has to be capitalized, and both the P and the I and the pi have to be capitalized, divided by 180 and then a semicolon. So we set the radians, a variable rad is going to hold the radians for, notice this is not the shot, right? This is the ship's rotation. So we first want to find what are the radians, what's the rotation of the ship, and put them into radians. And then we say shot underscore MC dot underscore X equals, so place the shot equal to the ship underscore MC dot underscore to the ship's X position plus 10, which should move it to the nose, times math dot the cosine method and pass it the radians and then a semicolon. So there's the first one. Space those out, and I'll take that, copy it, paste it, change it to Y, change that to Y, and change this to the sine method, and that should locate the shot to the nose of the ship. And right away we can test this out. We could say Control Enter, and here I'm rotating my ship. If I press D on the keyboard, notice the shot gets placed at the nose. And so that's working out pretty good. Notice I can only place so many shots. I've only placed 4 here because we've limited the variable, so the variable is getting incremented num shots, and if num shots it has to be less than 5, meaning 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and if it started at 1, we get shot 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're not allowed to put a 5th shot. So now we need one other variable, and that is our velocity x. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, I'll copy this really quickly, shot underscore MC dot underscore x. I want to get rid of that and change that to vel x for velocity x. And we're going to make the velocity 3 times math dot cosine, give it the rad, plus ship underscore MC dot vel x. So what this is going to do is it's going to say the shot gets its own velocity x, and it's going to be 3 times whatever basically the ship's velocity x was, And to do for that, we basically what we want is we don't want the bullet to be slower than the ship. So that's essentially what I'm doing here. We don't want the shot to be slower than the velocity of the shot to be slower than the velocity of the ship. So we're going to change that to y. We'll change this to the sign and ship's velocity y. So that looks pretty good. So now the last thing to do is to write the shot move function so that not only do the shots get placed on the stage, but they also move. So we'll add that function to the end of our code. So we'll go down here, 2 lines below, and type function shot move. It's a capital M there. That's how we wrote it. Open and close parentheses, open curly brace, and a close curly brace. And the first thing we'll do is we'll say this dot underscore x plus equal this dot vel x. And that will set the x position and add to the x position whatever the velocity x is of the shot. So it'll add this to the x position of our shot. And then we need to do the same thing for y, and then we can test it out. So we'll do that for y, and then we'll test it out. Control Enter, and if I press D, you can see there go the shots, and you can see I can shoot, and the problem is I can't keep shooting, and also the shots are going on into infinity. So we'll quickly close this movie, and we'll finish the code here. So after we do that, we need to account for the shots basically just continuing off screen. Once they leave the screen, we want to remove them so they're not basically incrementing forever, indefinitely. So we'll do that with an if statement. And so what I'll do is I'll say if this dot underscore x is greater than the right, which is the right bounding box, and then we'll use an or. We'll use an or operator here, so double pipe here, double pipe, and I'm going to put this on the, well, no, I'll just put it here. Or this dot underscore x is less than left, double pipe, or this dot underscore y is greater than bottom, or this dot underscore y is less than top. And what I can do is I can, we'll get rid of some of these spaces so that we can fit it all in one screen, hopefully here. I'll get that. I'll remove the spaces between this dot underscore x and then the left variable. All right, there we go. So that says if the x position is greater than the right bounding box, or the x position is less than the left, or it's greater than the bottom, or less than the top, right, then we need to close this off. There's the closed. Open curly brace, close curly brace. Remove movie clip this. And so that will say, hey, if the shot has left the stage, then remove the movie clip. It has to have capital M, capital C. Remove this movie clip. And let's add another piece to it. If num shots is greater than 0, so if num shots is greater than 0, and we've just removed the shot from the stage, right? We've just removed the shot from the stage, then what we can do is we can say num shots minus minus and remove one number from our number shots variable, and that way we will be able to shoot more shots. Every time a shot is removed from the screen, decrement the variable so that we can keep shooting. Now once again, your if statements, you have to close all curly braces. So this is one block. and this is the next block, and then the function has an open curly brace and a closed curly brace. So now if we hit Control Enter, we can shoot, and then as soon as the shots leave the stage, we can shoot again. In other words, I can only have 5 shots on the stage at one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I can't put any more until they start leaving the stage. So there's 5. Can't do it, can't do it. Okay, there's some more.